Hello everybody, my name is Millie and welcome back to my channel. So, I am currently preparing to go back to camp for my second summer ever. I am like actually beyond excited. I'm literally in my camp clothes right now. I'm not even joking. Like, I used to wear my hair like this at camp all the time. I don't have my camp necklace with me at the moment. I left it at uni. I'm so annoyed. But usually I have my little camp, like everyone at my camp wears like this face necklace, so I have one of those. I've got like my camp shorts on for this summer, new for this summer. And I just thought, now that I have this wealth of experience underneath my belt, I feel like I could give some top tips out to you guys. I have so many people reaching out to me every single day on Instagram because of my Camp America vlogs from last year, asking me all of these questions, and I absolutely love it. I love it to bits because camp is one of the best things ever. I'm so excited to go back. It's one of my happy places. It's one of the places I've been the happiest my entire life. Like, I just have so much love for the place. I have so much love for the experience, and I really think more people should do it. I've got my notes app up on my computer, and I've just written, basically just sat here, brainstormed, ate a little bit of chocolate cake, and I was like, what are things that I wish I'd kind of known before going? Because I watched so many of these videos before I went to camp, trying to get myself prepared, trying to, you know, really hype myself up, think about like, what did I need to know? So I've tried to section them kind of, but some of them are gonna just be in random places, so apologies. My very first tip, and this might seem basic, but it's put as much energy as you possibly can into the summer, because the more you put in, the more you get out of it. And that's genuinely true. I know so many people say it, but the thing at camp is nobody cares what you look like. Like, you might look silly doing something, but that's all the better. Like, that's literally what camp is about. It's about being your, as my camp would say, authentic self. Like, it's about being just you without judgment. You are gonna meet so many people and you're gonna learn so much. Like, I went to camp a completely different person than who I came out as, because I just learned so much from the kids, from my co-counselors. I met people from different parts of the world that I'd never met before. I was opened up to like a completely new set of ideas and experiences and just people, and I think people can really teach you a lot as well. And when you're compiling like all of these staff members from everywhere, I mean, it's absolutely insane. So just really talk to people as much as you can, like in the evenings, in your time off, talk to people, like learn their ways of the world, like learn how they see the world. And I think it's so interesting and it's so important as well, because I think that's the other side of camp, is not only you're there for the kids and you're experiencing this American summer camp, but there are international staff as well who you're not going to come across in any other part of your life except here. You're gonna be tired and you are definitely gonna get sick. Oh my gosh, so I think I had like on average 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night, but when I tell you, the second I got into bed I was out like a light. That never happens to me anywhere else. You're so worn out from the day, immediately out like that. And I would always try to be the first counsellor out of bed in the morning as well. So when my unit leader came to wake us up, we got up at 7:30 in the morning. I would literally allow myself like 30 seconds to, in fact, no, what I would do is I had an alarm on my watch and I would set it 1 minute before my unit leader came to wake us up, so that I would be awake for her to turn the lights on, and I'd already had like my wake up period, and then I would get them out of my bed immediately so that I could like get the kids to get a move on and go and brush their teeth and like get dressed for the day, because otherwise we were going to be late to breakfast and we are going to be late to flagpole. And like, as the eldest at camp, you kind of want to set an example to the younger kids as well. So I'd be like, okay everyone, let's go. It also meant I got first pick of the toilet, so like I had to pee in the morning. I always have to pee when I go up, so I would be out of bed, go pee, first pick of the sink for brushing your teeth as well, and then you're like out of the way of all the kids and the other counsellors, and you can just like sit and chill for 5 minutes whilst everyone's, you know, getting a hurry on. But completely off point anyways. You're gonna get sick, you're gonna get tired. I think it's okay to take naps during your off periods. Like, that's what I ended up doing towards the end of summer, is instead of going to the staff lounge, we call it a lounge, if you hear me refer to lounge in this video, that's what it is. I would just go up to my bunk when the kids weren't going to be there during my off periods, and I would just have a nap and catch up with sleep, and I'd have like 30-minute power nap and I'd be good to go for the rest of the day. You're also going to get sick, so what I highly recommend is, if your unit leader has like somewhere else that they sleep that's away from the kids, or just ask your camp if you can keep like medicine somewhere. So I went to the health centre multiple times at my camp and they just like wouldn't give me anything because they're quite iffy about giving out medicine, which understandably so. But I was so sick, like I could not function, I could not sleep, I was coughing all the time. I had no appetite, I couldn't like sleep, it was awful. So one of my friends during my off day got me NyQuil, and then I kept that in my unit leader's bunk because she was like away from the kids, and that's where we all kept our medication if we had like tablets to take and things like that. So I just kept it in there, and then I would keep myself dosed up throughout the day, and I got better within like 3 days when I'd been sick for like 2.5 weeks. So definitely get some medicine at the start of camp if you can. Usually if you have international staff, they will take you to like Walmart or Target to be able to get toiletries and things. Buy some medicine there, and then you have it for the rest of summer. Also take the time to rest. So as I said, you're going to be tired. So for us, we were getting up at 7:30 a.m. and then if you were on OD, you were definitely awake until 1 a.m. in the morning. If you weren't on OD, you would get time off from after your unit meeting, so that was probably around 10 p.m. for us, until 1 a.m. we had a curfew of 12:55, and that's when you had to be signed in and back in your bunk asleep. Well, you didn't have to be asleep obviously, but like back in your bunk. So that's like 3 hours off in the evening. I think that's quite good. However, don't feel like you need to stay out that entire time. Be prepared to be homesick when you get there. So going to camp and going to America, I was like having the biggest culture shock of my life. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like everyone here is so American. Like as stupid as it sounds, I was like, these people are actually like really crazily very camp and very American, and camp is very intense. It's such a different culture than anything I've ever experienced. And even when I came back to the UK, I found I couldn't explain camp, and I couldn't talk to people about camp who hadn't already been, because it's so difficult, because they just don't get it because they've not experienced it. Like it is a completely different world, and it's amazing, but it's super intense. And I was so homesick. I think I cried every single day for a week straight when I first got there, because I'd never been that far from home before. Be prepared, but just know that it does go away. If you need help, ask for it. Like I just said, it's such an intense job. Like you can't function unless you know that you've got a support system and you're not afraid to ask for help. I remember being times where I would just cry on the lounge stairs. Like I would literally get to the lounge, which is it's where no kids are allowed, and I would just sit and I would just cry, because I was like, I'm so sick, I'm so tired, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, make use of the resources that camp gives you. So obviously drink water, wear your sun cream, bring bug spray. Oh my goodness. It does get cold at night as well sometimes, so I don't think I ever wore my joggers apart from in like the first week of camp. It was really cold when I got there. It was in June, and I was like, why am I actually shivering? Like this is not normal. But then for the rest of summer, once it gets warm, it gets hot. I mean, I was in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure about like up north, but anywhere there and south from that, oh my goodness, I was like, I really can't adjust to the heat. But I got so tanned, so it was so nice. And also sometimes I wore like longer pajamas, but take jumpers. Also, oh my goodness, get a watch. So I don't have the watch that I took to camp, but I'm taking it back to camp this year. I'll put it on screen. It's like the Casio watch. This thing is amazing. It tells you the date, it tells you the time. You can do a stopwatch, you can set an alarm, like the whole shebang. And it's a tenner from Argos. Like, what's not to love? Highly recommend getting a journal and journaling every single day. So I built it into my routine when I was there, because like the way our day was set out is we'd have a shower time, and during that time, like, well, I mean, if you're working with the younger kids, you're gonna be busier, but because I had the 15-year-olds, like, they can shower themselves, you know, like, we don't need to get involved with them showering. We just tell them and make sure you've showered and they're fine. So I would just sit for about an hour and I would journal with my codes, and that was so nice. And it was great because I wrote about every single detail, and now I can go back and read my journals and I literally read about, it's like reading a story, and it takes me right back to that moment. It's so sweet. And also get a digital camera if you can, just like a cheap secondhand one, because you're likely not going to have your phone on you and you're going to want as many pictures as possible. I took my little digital camera and I'm going to take it again this year. I'm actually going to take even more photos because I feel like I didn't get that many last year. With your phone, like in terms of being away from your phone, the best thing ever. Like, it's one of my favorite parts of summer is putting it in that locker. Like, they give us lockers at my camp, just putting it in that locker, just shutting it and not bringing it out. If you do get to carry your phone with you, like, I would even ask if there's somewhere you can leave it, and I would really encourage you to put it down and just like leave it somewhere, because it's so freeing not being like chained to it. You're in the middle of nowhere, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no signal anyway, like you're not using it. All your friends are basically in a different country, in a different time zone if you're an international staff member, so it's like, who are you even contacting anyway? You're surrounded by people you grow to love and who grow to be your friends and family, and it's like, those are the people you want to be connecting with in that moment, because you have such a limited time with them because they're from all over the world, and it's like, you're not going to see them again. In terms of contacting your friends and family as well, just know, and I would like let them know beforehand, you're probably not going to contact them that much. I think I barely phoned my parents. I like didn't speak to my friends when I was at camp from home, and they knew that that was going to be the case beforehand. In terms of working with the kids, I think it's so beneficial because they teach you a lot, and I would definitely try and make a connection with every single kid in your bunk. So for me, I think I had around 10 kids at a time in my bunk, and it can be difficult. I found it was really difficult sometimes because you're obviously going to have some that are more naturally outgoing and are chatty, and then you're going to have some that are quite quiet and kind of begin to slip under the radar unless you make that extra effort. And you're a counsellor for all of these kids. Like, you are their role model for the summer, you're their person they can go to, you're like the trusted adult that they want to be able to feel like they can tell you if there's something worrying them or they need help with something, you know. So I really made an effort to get to know each of the kids individually and sort of think about, like, I would keep in my mind sort of like little fact files of what I knew about each kid and kind of what their likes and dislikes were and what we could have a conversation with type thing. And I think once you've developed that relationship, it's something for them to get to know you through as well, and they sort of know that it's okay to come to you and it's okay to talk to you about stuff and things like that. And I think when you're beginning to develop those relationships, ask for something. I mean, this probably wouldn't have worked with like the older kid. I mean, it might have done, but I really made the effort with the younger kids to ask them to like show me how to do something. So for example, I really wanted to learn how to make the friendship bracelets because all of these kids were just constantly making friendship bracelets, and I was like, I want to do that. So I said, oh my goodness, like, do you want to show me how to do one of those? And they sat with me, and it just makes them feel important as well. It makes them feel like they're able to teach you something, which is a really good skill as well to kind of instill in these kids, is like leadership skills. Also, make the effort to get to know all the kids on camp. So I went to a co-ed camp, so it's boys and girls, and then also 6 to 15, as I said. And I was a counsellor for, in my first session I was for the 15-year-old girls, and then my second session for the 13-year-old girls. But because I was a specialist, it meant I taught like all of the kids at camp. So I would have like boys, girls, the youngest, the oldest, they would all come through drama, and it meant that I got to know kids from every single cabin at camp. And I highly recommend doing that because it means that you know, if you're having like, so we had Maccabi, which is essentially a colour war, and you're mixed in with all the kids, it's not necessarily just your kids, and it meant I could refer to some of them and I could go up to them and like have conversations with kids that not necessarily I saw every single day, but I knew from one of my sessions and I remembered. And it's really important to have those sort of relationships with everybody at camp because it makes it feel more welcoming, and it also gives the kids that one extra counsellor they know they can rely on if like they need their water bottle filling up, for example. So some of the younger kids would recognise me, and maybe they couldn't see one of their like bunk counsellors around, and they'd say, oh please can you come and fill my water bottle up with me, and I'd be like, yeah of course, like let's go and do that, because I could see that their counsellor was preoccupied with another kid or something like that. Always remember that you are a role model for these kids, and the way I think about it is you are literally like in the moment of them creating their core memories. And the way I always think about it is I went to, it wasn't a summer camp, but I did NCS, which is like, I guess it's a residential type thing you do in the UK. And I always think back to my counsellors, and I always think if they've left that much of an impression on me after 4 weeks, imagine how much of an impression I'm going to leave on these kids after they're with me for 7 weeks, for example, and we're not even like, we're fully living together at this point, and I'm basically their parent for the summer, you know, because their parents aren't here. So just remember that with the actions you do, and really try and create good memories for them, because that's what's going to stick with them, and it's going to sort of change their summer and their lives. Your co-counsellors are going to be the biggest support system you have, and I was so lucky that I made some of the best friends with my co-counselors, and it was genuinely like working with my best mates. It was fantastic. You also are a united front with your co-counselors, so sometimes the kids would be a little bit sneaky. I mean, my kids never did this as far as I know, but I know this happened a lot with the younger kids, is they go to one of the counselors and ask to do something, and that counselor would say no, and then they go to another one of their counselors and the counselors hadn't communicated, and the other counselor would say, yeah, of course you can do that, and then obviously that causes like a bit of tension, because you've got kind of like good cop bad cop situation going on, and you just want to kind of communicate at all times, and you also want to know if one of your kids is struggling and maybe needs a bit of extra support right now, because you just have to be there, you know, communicate, work together, you are a team. One of the most amazing things about camp is the fact that I was so body confident when I was there. I genuinely have never been more confident about myself than at camp, and I was really worried about it going into summer because I'm quite insecure about my body, especially in like swim costumes and bikinis, and when I was there, like, generally I didn't care. It did take a little while to kind of settle into that mindset because obviously you're not really used to it, but when everybody else around you just doesn't care, it's fantastic. It's like a judgment-free zone, and I was just so happy. At the end of summer I wasn't even thinking about it. So in terms of like working with the other counselors, you're living with the other counselors, you're all kind of teenagers, late teens, early 20s, you're living together for basically 2 months straight. Everybody knows everybody's business, like there are no secrets at camp, so just be wary of that when you're sort of like gossiping. Like, gossip is, I don't think gossip is necessarily a bad thing unless it's done with bad intentions, but you know, like, things get shared at camp. I like to describe it as Love Island for the counselors, because do people get with each other? Yes, they do. It's no secret. There are camp romances. We had a thing at our camp that the like directors were telling us when we were in staff training, and it's called like, what's it called, like getting pine married, because our camp's called Pinemere. It's people that meet at camp who then go on to get married, and I was like, sorry? I know counselors who met at camp and are still together now, like they're in long-term relationships. It's crazy. It's like going on a year at this point because they met last summer and it's now April. I'm like, oh my goodness. So just know that. So bring more cash than you think you're gonna need, because I found that when I was doing days off with international staff, like somebody would pay for the coffees or somebody would pay for like the gas for the car, and then I would need to pay that person back because they're not British. I couldn't just do a bank transfer and I would have to pay them in cash, and I think I only bought like $250 in cash, and I've ordered 400 this time because I know I'm gonna use it. Days off add up quick as well. They're so freaking expensive. I mean, we once took the bus to New York for our day off and the bus alone was $100, so you kind of get the vibe from that. But at the same time, don't let money hold you back from having fun. For a lot of people, they only go to camp once and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and experience, and you don't want to be held back just because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to spend like that extra $20, you know, like make those memories. Memories are more important than money. I always say like money always comes back to you, but those opportunities and memories don't. Leave room in your luggage when you're coming to camp as well, because oh my goodness, you're gonna leave so much camp merchandise. I mean, most of mine's at uni still. I'm back for Easter at the moment, but t-shirts, jumpers, hats, water bottles, like bro, a blanket. I brought a full-on blanket back from America with me, and I was, so many international staff I know like had to leave it there, and I was like, I'm not leaving this blanket. Like, it has been through thick and thin with me. It's coming back. And I managed to get it in. I managed to fit it in my luggage, but I'm taking less than I took last time because I know what I'm gonna need, and I am gonna do a packing video for those of you asking, because I know what I need now, but I'm definitely leaving more here so I can bring more back this time. And last but not least, don't worry about your travel plans, because at the end of the day, I think everyone at my camp didn't really book anything until the last 2 weeks. I know I didn't for sure. I was kind of like researching probably from like 4 weeks till the end, talking to people about what their plans were, and then eventually like I just booked things, and I only planned to travel, I think I only planned one thing with one specific person, and that was to go to Hawaii, which was like quite obviously you needed to do a lot of booking for that, but for everything else I was just happy to go alone, and it just ended up meaning that I I didn't even book it with them, but I saw people from camp like in DC and in New York, because they ended up being in DC and New York at the same time as me. I wasn't staying with them or anything, but we would meet up and do stuff during the day, and I got to see them, and that was nice. But don't panic about booking travel, because there's going to be somebody that's wanting to do what you do likely, and even if there's not, like, solo traveling taught me a lot, and it gave me a lot of confidence, and I definitely think it's something that everybody should do once in their lifetime. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have gained some knowledge, some insight into what camp life is kind of like. It's definitely a shock when you go, but it's absolutely insane, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you want some more Camp America content, or if you want to see my uni content, I do a lot of uni Camp America content, subscribe down below. I am going back to camp this year, so you're going to get camp vlogs when I come back, and it's probably going to take me years to edit them again, like it did this year. But they're going to be high quality, you know? I know what I'm doing this time round. Hopefully I can get them edited a bit quicker. I will see you very shortly for another video. Any questions you have, leave them down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.